Welcome to the 23rd rule of acquisition. This is the stagnation tell. Stagnation indicates something is seriously wrong. And then there's 23A. If stagnant, re-examine everything from the beginning. This has helped me a lot. I'll talk about that when we get into this. If the forward progress in a scientific endeavor is excruciatingly slow or even non-existent, then it is said to be stagnant. And there could be many causes for scientific stagnation. One, of course, is lack of funding or lack of time, which is, a little bit of what's slowing me down. Cause number two is something could be ahead of its time. Like, for example, even though the light bulb was developed by Edison, it wasn't practical. You couldn't just go out and use a light bulb and buy it and use it. He had to also develop a power generator to make the power. He had to develop the transmission system, the metering system so he could charge you on the per watt used, and then the fuse box to protect your house. All these things have to be in place before the light bulb becomes a practical thing that you can use in your home. So sometimes an invention or a theory is in need of another theory to be able to be put to use. So this is a case of being ahead of its time. Another instance of this is remote control. Tesla invented an interesting remote control device. I think it was in the 1920s. And he demonstrated it, but people said, well, what the hell am I going to use that for? Nowadays we got little remote controls to do just about everything. So again, he invented something ahead of its time before it was anybody could understand what you would ever want to use something like that for. And of course, you could have the wrong models. And that's going to be what the focus of this video is on. The example is in the movie, the book, The Race for the Double Helix. Watson and Crick, the entire movie, 90% of the movie is them guessing what it could be and trying to figure out why the models didn't fit together nicely and why what's going on and how things just didn't add up. Things just were not quite right. And then, in the last part of the movie, a guy comes in from the other, says, oh, well, your model for this molecule is wrong. And he wrote down the new right model, and I forget which one it was. It's one of the four, either it was the adenine, thymine, guanine, or cytosine. I think it was guanine, I'm not sure. But he said, you have the wrong model of that. And once you put the right model, Jeff Goldblum's character is sitting there cutting out these paper things and it fit together like a child's toy. Okay, so, the key is that you can have a wrong model that totally stymies your forward progress. This happens time and time and time again. So, if you are stagnant, re-examine everything from the beginning. All logic, all models, all theories. Because sometimes what scientists do, or a lot of times, is they see the prize at the other end of the arena, and they enter the arena and they go, oh, but we're so close. We get all the right answers, but we just don't quite get there. And I have found that if you go back and re-examine everything from the beginning, you'll see things you missed the first time around. You don't want to get stuck down the path of the maze. Go back, you're going to find other possible places to turn. They may be dead ends, or you might just find the solution that'll get you to the prize. Okay, this is a technique that's used by crime detectives. They'll have the witness, okay, this is a bad picture, but this is all I could get on clip art. They'll have the witness, go back and retell the story 5 or 6 times, and you see the witness getting all confused. And about maybe the 4th time, the witness goes, oh, you know what, there's something I just remembered. And they come up with an important clue that solves a crime because it seemed like an unimportant clue to the person, so it wasn't in their mind. But going over and over it and trying to think of something they didn't think of the first time, they just start throwing out these things they didn't think were important. And that's what happens. Sometimes when you're doing a scientific endeavor, you're like, oh, this little thing over here is not very important, and you go on. Then you get over here, go back and say, well, maybe that little thing is important. And you follow it up, and it turns out to be important. Because you got to remember, in Galileo's day, 99.9% of the objects in the night sky fit the Earth-centric model. It was only a handful, 5 objects that didn't fit the Earth-centric model. And people ignored it thinking, when we finally understand everything, it'll eventually fit the Earth-centric model. So the tiniest little thing you overlook could be the catastrophic change. And there's another cause, the false belief that it's done. Or cause 5, maybe it is done. Okay? It's probably best that we never ever believe that we're done. But here's Distinti's test of done, and I think I have this in one of my other earlier videos. When mankind's model are sufficient, that a computer simulation set of models would show the development of the universe all the way through an evolution of a sentient species that is itself able to deduce the same models, that's perhaps the best test that you have the right theory of the universe, the theory of everything, if the model itself can predict its own existence. Or it's probably just easier just to never assume anything is done and be open to any change. Another cause is institutionalized cronyism. You know, where people say, well, it must be true because it's in all the textbook. It's not possible for everyone to be wrong. Yes, it is. Salem witch burnings, the earth is the center of the universe. It is quite possible for everybody to be wrong. And don't think it can't happen in this day and age. That's naive, because we don't know what this day and age is relative to what the final answer of the universe is. We still might be down in the dark ages with respect to where we might be in 100 or 1,000 years. And those people in the future are going to look back on us and say, boy, how retarded and stupid these people in the 20th century were. Just like we look back upon the people of the 17th century and say, well, how primitive and idiotic they were. But in their day, they didn't think they were idiotic and primitive. They had the state-of-the-art technology for the day, for what they knew. So we must not get arrogant and think, well, because we know everything, or we think we know everything. So, I'm going to beat a dead horse. So, what is the statute of limitation? What is the criterion to determine how long lack of progress constitutes stagnation? I don't know. I mean, how long is too long? I don't know. That's a determination that, we're going to have to make. I would say is if you're stuck for a little while, it doesn't hurt to go back and check everything out again. Couldn't hurt. All it could do is help. Reasonable men adapt to the world around them. Unreasonable men make the world adapt to them. The world is changed by unreasonable men. Thank you. This is the end of the 23rd rule of acquisition, the Stagnation Tell. Thank you. And thank you for your donations. If you want to donate, go to my website. It's woefully out of date. There's a donate button. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.